after a function. Gotta walk through a fire for what's important. And the warrior's blood through your veins is coursing.
He goes outside. He's got Ledford with him. Chris Blassie is going to win it at the line here in Daytona.
Every move, take your shot, don't be a fool. All you got and all you ever need is one bullet in the chamber. Breathe to take your aim. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? One bullet in the chamber. Breathe to take your aim, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Now the whole world's watching every move. Take your shot, don't act the fool. All you got and all you ever
He's
need.
going to drive up into him. Can Kuntz hang on to it off the corner? Kuntz gets it.
It's one bullet in the chamber. Breathe to take your aim, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna
Drivers
do?
side by side coming out of turn 4. Rapp at the 52 on the outside. The 99 to the inside. Rapp's going to win it at Auto Club.
So what you gonna do?
If it's Tuesday, that means it's the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance from Slingshot Racing League. Welcome everybody, I'm Ellis Thomas, joined in the booth tonight by Chris Smith. We're bringing you live racing action in the NASCAR trucks on iRacing from Auto Club Speedway for the Pine Mountain Auto Supply 175. Auto Club Speedway, nestled in the foothills of the San Gabriel Mountains, once housed the colossal Kaiser Steel Mill, a thriving industrial powerhouse staffed by 10,000 employees. Born in the crucible of World War II in 1942, this steel mill stood as a pivotal wartime asset dedicated to crafting the very steel that fortified the warships of that era. However, as the tumultuous decades of the 60s and 70s unfolded, the mill's prosperity dwindled. The poignant climax arrived in 1983 when Kaiser Steel, unable to weather the economic storms, declared bankruptcy, ultimately sealing the mill's fate and bringing down its curtain for good. However, in 1997, a remarkable transformation took place on these historic grounds as the 2-mile D-shaped oval track of Auto Club Speedway emerged from the ruins of the mill's remnants. The iconic 100-foot water tower, a proud symbol of the Kaiser property, was thoughtfully preserved at the heart of the racetrack, now serving as a distinctive scoreboard. The journey to this rebirth involved the meticulous removal of 21,000 tons of hazardous waste, recycling of 370 tons of coal tar, and the monumental task of clearing 1 million tons of rubble. To sculpt the track's contours, a staggering 2 million cubic yards of dirt were artfully reshaped. In its final 2 years on the NASCAR Cup schedule, Auto Club produced some breathtaking races before it will once again be reshaped, but this time into a short track occupying a fraction of the space that it once did. Chris, cinema buffs might recognize the site from its prominent role, the final battle scene in the second Terminator film with Arnold Schwarzenegger in 1991. What are drivers going to have to do to ensure that their race isn't terminated early tonight and that they have a chance to make it to victory lane at the end of 88 laps in tonight's season opener?
Well, to keep with the Hollywood theme, I would say that the action is going to be fast and furious all night tonight. Yeah, sorry, I just had to go there. It's gonna be a difficult race for sure. This is gonna be a track and a race and a car combination that really tests drivers' mental fortitude tonight. We're going to talk about it in our stories, but I think we're going to see a lot of close action tonight with these trucks and the hole that they punch in the air staying very, very close to one another. We're looking at a fuel window of roughly 35 laps tonight, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. So we're expecting at least 2 stops tonight. These drivers have 3 sets of tires in the pits along with the set that they're starting out with. 88 laps, 37 trucks here tonight, and some moderate tire degradation. We're going to talk about the lines that you're going to see around this track as well and how they influence the tire wear over the course of the night.
We're definitely going to be seeing a lot of action on track, Chris. A lot of stories that we're going to keep an eye on. We'll be doing that, however, shortly after we hit up a Slingshot fan favorite, the pre-race playing of the national anthem. So everyone, go ahead, rise, and remove your caps if able for the playing of the national anthem. We'll be back on the other side of the Star Spangled Banner. All right, we are back here in Fontana, California from Auto Club Speedway Slingshot Racing League season opener for the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance. This is the Pine Mountain Auto Supply 175. This race is brought to you by Pine Mountain Auto Supply, which is a Napa Auto Parts affiliate in Big Oak Flat, California, which is the gateway to Yosemite National Park. Locally owned and operated since 2020, this location serves the community in greater Northern California. More than just auto parts, Pine Mountain Auto also offers high-end knives and fine cigars from top brands such as Perdomo, Tatiana, and Southern Draw. Check out PineMountainAuto.com or shop the web at NapaOnline.com. We appreciate Pine Mountain Auto Supply's continued support of Slingshot Racing. We'll hear from them a little bit later on in the race. But right now, Chris, we've got some stories that we are going to be looking at to set up this season opener. It all starts tonight. The regular season is about to get underway. What can we talk about to help fans kind of get on the same page and have something to follow as the race progresses?
Well, I think that this season...
follow.
Yeah, I think that this season we're going to see some tighter competition than we've ever seen before here in Slingshot Racing League. During media night and during the clash, that's all everybody talked about was that this field was stacked this season. And that it's going to be really, really tough to win a race. You might see some drivers that we're used to seeing win races have some trouble doing that tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the stoutest field I think we've had on the track in 6 seasons of Slingshot Racing League. Hey, not to put you on the spot, but I'm going to ask you a question here. If you could choose one of the 4 champions we've had, Justin Wilson, Jacob Bradley, Aaron Smith, and Johnny Rapp, that are in the field tonight, which one of those do you have your eye on the most in terms of you're picking them as a championship favorite?
I think that I unofficially put myself onto the Justin Wilson bandwagon last week with my pick, and I think I'm gonna stick with it because I feel like the events that occurred in that final race where he was leading the points going into Homestead, Miami, and there was some contact between he and his payday teammate Ryan Jones. I think he's gonna have his eyes set on this championship this season.
Maybe a little bit of unfinished business for Justin Wilson, who you mentioned spent most of the season second place in the championship standings, closed and took the lead within about 4 races left in the season, Chris, and led going into the finale. But you mentioned got caught up with a teammate early on, giving the championship. And I shouldn't say giving. Jacob Bradley raced hard for that championship and had one of the most dominant seasons we've seen in a long time in slingshot racing. But yeah, Justin Wilson's got some unfinished business. Let's also talk about just tonight specifically. We're going to have drivers racing hard. We might see contact like we saw in the season finale at Homestead last season. Talk about risk versus reward. What is your mentality as a driver going into the very first race this season?
Well, it's easy to look back at the end of the season and, try to pick where you could have points, here and there. Maybe you finished one spot behind a guy and it was only like 3 points separating you, the two of you. And you can look back to this first race when it felt like you didn't have any pressure, but maybe you made them, you took a risk that maybe you wouldn't have taken later in the season. And you're going to wish you had those 3 points. So, we're going to see some guys that have that mentality, but we're going to see a lot of guys, beginning of the season, this is normally where we see probably the most aggression all season. We're going to see a lot of our drivers decide to just let it all hang out tonight.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how much that pans out and in which drivers choose which strategy, because I was able to talk to several drivers. In pre-race, and they had mentioned the fact that they essentially were kind of approaching this through it. I'm just going to take it easy. It's the beginning of the season. I'm going to race where I can race. I'm going to try to get the spots that I can get, but I'm not going to over race. I'm not going to ruin my season early. Whereas I do think some drivers, once you get in the car though, once you strap the belts on, I think it's a little bit tougher to kind of follow through with that promise. So, tonight we're going to be seeing pack racing, Chris. Traditionally, we started the season out at Daytona, but we've kind of altered course a little bit. We've been looking to maybe have a cleaner season opener. We're still going to be pack racing, but talk to us about what we can expect out of seeing, multiple drivers running different lines and what impact that draft is going to have on the car in second, third place behind the leaders.
Well, this is very different than what you saw last season in the B car and the Xfinity car here in Slingshot Racing League. Last season, you saw, a lot less downforce on those cars, and these trucks have a lot more downforce. They punch a huge hole in the air. They're very, very, they've got a lot of drag on them. So drafting plays a big role on a track like this, and I think that you're going to see a lot of drivers, try to utilize that draft down the straightaway, and you might not be handling quite as good as a guy in front of you, but you'll find that they're able to stay with them just because of how powerful the draft is here at this track with this truck.
So, mentioning the start of the season, this is a departure from what we've normally done. We've started off the season at Auto Club instead of Daytona, Chris, but there's another big twist this season, and that's the fact that for the first time ever, we've got a chase for the championship. We'll put the format up on the screen. The point kind of distribution is going to remain the same this season. However, we won't be racing for stage points. The biggest difference is the first 10 races are normal regular season races. And then the final 5 races are going to be the chase. 12 drivers are going to lock their way into the chase. The top 12 in points will be reset after race 10, Chris. And what is race 10? Remind me of what race 10, where it's at.
It's at Daytona.
And that's going to be an interesting twist. We've seen some regular season ending races at Daytona produce great results. We're interested to see what it's going to do here, but you can see the drivers will be reset, and then we'll take it to Rockingham, Sonoma, Chicagoland, Darlington, and finally we'll wind up at Charlotte for the season finale. So kind of a good variety of tracks to test those 12 drivers and test their mettle to see who's going to be crowned the champion. Chris, this is going to be hard work. Drivers are going to have their work cut out for them. What race are you looking forward to on the schedule up on the board the most this season?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. Yeah, I always enjoy racing at Rockingham. I just think that's a really cool, unique track. I think the one that I am most curious about, though, is that second chase race at Sonoma. We've been to some interesting road courses, but Sonoma is a really tricky, really challenging road course, and I'm looking to see how these drivers can tackle that track.
It is definitely a tricky, challenging road course. I've got my eye always on Darlington, Chris, but I'm also interested about Pocono. This was a driver-selected race. They told us they wanted to go here. We've never been there before, so it's going to be a great season, and it's all going to start here, Chris. starting grid is set for the race tonight. Justin Wilson picking up where he left off, starting on the Evan Pienta Pole Award tonight with a fast lap. And what that's going to do for him, the driver with the most amount of poles at the end of the season, Chris, is going to get a free paint scheme designed by our partner Evan Pienta Designs. Several of those you'll see on track tonight. Scotty Sobczak going to be starting second in that number 81 truck, that Pine Mountain Auto Supply truck, going to be starting second. He's had some good seasons, Chris, but he hasn't been able to put together a championship run yet. You think we might see that from him tonight?
Very well could. Wouldn't be surprised at all as the field rolls off a pit road here.
Yeah, we are rolling off a pit road. Racing is around the corner. Jacob Bradley, last season's champion in that number 50 Lowe's car or truck, going to be starting in the third position. Randy Bechtel, we saw him have a good run at the end of last season. You know, if he had had a better run earlier on, might have had a shot at the championship. Josh Ward, another fast flyer, starting in fifth. Dustin Scruggs, slingshot newcomer, starting in the sixth position. Aaron Smith going to be starting seventh. He's a champion. Scotty Tompkins won this race at Auto Club last season, Chris. He's going to be starting eighth. Slingshot newcomer Thomas Coonan going to be starting ninth. I hear you had some racing with him on Sunday night. How'd that work out?
He won it. He's really fast. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him up near the front tonight.
Rye Jones, we're going to be seeing him start in that number 91 in 10th position. Brady Floyd, a new slingshot newcomer in that 53, going to be starting 11th. Jeremy Gardner, 12th. Johnny Rapp starting 13th. Wesley Pistol in the Tennessee Volunteers car starting 14th. Evan Pienta, 15th. Rest of the starting grid going to scroll by on the bottom as we get ready for the beginning of Season 6 of Slingshot Racing League. Reminder, we do have restart zones in effect. So Justin Wilson, not this time by. He's going to wait for the green flag, but every time after, it'll be on him. Wilson in the 58 is going to lead him down to the green flag. The season is underway for SRL in the Apex Energy Truck Series. Trouble in the infield early on. Chris Pierce in the 65 down to the bottom. We're going to keep on racing, folks. That's going to be a single car incident, and we'll get back to this in a minute, Chris, but cold tires, I've noticed, have given some drivers trouble in practice. Single file top three. Randy Bechtel trying to make a pass 3 wide off the corner back in 8th, 9th, and 10th position. That looks like Brady Floyd, Rye Jones, Scott Tompkins. Tompkins in the middle of a Floyd and Jones sandwich. Now Sobczak contact between Thomas Coonan, I believe, in the 86 and 81 of Scotty Sobczak. Several drivers, Chris, moving around the track right now, kind of testing out the waters. We've seen several of these cars moving around, but so far, other than the 65, we are clean and green as drivers get it figured out, headed down into turn one. Justin Wilson got a mirror full of Jacob Bradley, who's got Randy Bechtel to his outside.
Yeah, right now you're seeing just how big a hole these trucks punch in the air right here. Everybody's staying double file. Already a lap into it right here. It looks like Coonan looking to the inside of Aaron Smith right here for the 7th spot. Yeah,
good little battle going on between Coonan and the 86 and Aaron Smith and that number 70 Hank Thomas Performance Machine. Smith getting that run off the corner is going to continue that 3 wide fight as he ducks underneath Rye Jones, and they're going to head off into turn one. Scotty Sobczak's got a mirror full of that battle. I believe that is Raymond Hanneman. That's Thomas Coonan's partner on the outside. Coonan in the back of Scotty Sobczak. We almost had another crash there, and I saw Scotty Sobczak queue up on the mic, Chris. I suspect he might not have been happy about that tap he received on lap 3 from Thomas Coonan, the 86, who's going to lose several spots on that lap 3 contact.
Yeah, and
Coonan's
meanwhile,
not going to give up, though.
While all this was going on, Randy Bechtel took the lead from Justin Wilson. Justin Wilson's kind of hung out on the bottom here, which will happen here at Auto Club on the restarts and the initial start of the race. You got to be really careful or they'll line up on you on the outside and just freight train you on the straightaways.
He's gonna try to find his way in there, but it looks like Brady Floyd might try to make that run on the outside. Almost contact there between Evan Pienta and Jacob Bradley, as well as, I believe,
Coonan into the side of Smith. Yeah, Thomas Coonan bouncing off a lot of people early on here.
Absolutely. Coonan trying to get his sea legs here. Meanwhile, Evan Pienta jumps to the outside of the 70 of Aaron Smith. Scott Tompkins behind them watching this fray kind of unfold. Evan Pienta got a window full of the back end of that 86. He's going to draft. He's going to push 86 of Coonan into turn 1. Let's see if he tries to make a move headed down in that corner. Scott Tompkins makes an aggressive move, almost cuts off the 5 of Jeremy Gardner headed down into 1. Gardner's going to take it to the inside. Tompkins is going to be at his outside. We've got some crazy racing going on very early right here, Chris. On lap number 5 of 88, I think I'm reaching a limit on one hand of how many almost crashes we've had, but drivers have done a masterful job. Oh, Kyle Dewey, and looks like 7 of Tony Caputo headed out of turn number 4 there. Almost had contact. There's number 6 at least. I've reached my second hand accounting near incidents, Chris.
Yeah, and meanwhile, this has created a 3, almost 4 wide situation right here between Dewey, looks like Dan Rowe, and I think that's a 43 of Jacob Chase right there on the outside. They may get down to 3 wide, which is a little bit more manageable. This track's plenty wide enough to run 3 and 4 wide, but where you run into the trouble is off these corners where everybody sort of converges together.
Yeah, Dewey was stuck in the sucker hole right in the middle there for a few laps, and I imagine no one's going to be comfortable there. But, right, you know, I'm telling you, at 200 miles an hour, near 200 miles an hour, middle line between 2 other cars, and that sandwich is not a place that even the most experienced of drivers wants to be. Speaking of experienced drivers, Randy Bechtel is your leader, Chris, up at front, but he's got an earful and a mirror full of Dustin Scruggs in that number 11 right behind him. Randy Bechtel, let's talk about Randy for a minute, Chris. I mentioned it in the pre-race opener, but this is a driver that we've raced with. He's been a championship caliber driver, but he's struggled the past couple of seasons. He got his sea legs halfway through last season, but he had kind of already dug himself into a points hole, and it made it difficult for him to dig himself out of. But Randy Bechtel returning to the form that we're used to seeing him in this number 51, Chris. He's going to be a formidable force, it looks like, if any indication is to be believed here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. He's getting a good little arrow push right here down the straightaway from Dustin Scruggs. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him contend for the championship. We know how good Randy is in these trucks, and last season he was super, super consistent. I know he got caught up in a few crashes, not of his making, but he was very consistent, very fast, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him, score several wins this season and contend for the title.
Yeah, he looks like he is back and ready to go. And hey, I do want to mention Raymond Hanneman in that number 85 car, Chris. He is up to 4th position. I've been keeping a bit of an eye on him, and I think he made up a lot of those positions on the outside. I think he was one of those drivers who opted to run on that high line. We talked about the benefit of it early on in a run. What are you expecting to see from Hanneman as this run goes on with that choice to run on the outside early on?
Yeah, we'll have to watch that. I purposely tried to run the outside really, really hard in the practice race on Sunday night, and I found that and that was only 25 laps, and I found that it destroyed my tires. And it looks like he's taking it a little bit easier now, but I'll be curious, about halfway through this fuel run here, where's Raymond going to be running at? Is he going to be running in the same position? Is he going to have the same pace that he currently has? I'll be curious to see all that information later on, as something happened to Scotty Sobczak. He's currently in the 36th position, way off the pace. Almost like he made a trip down pit road but didn't pit. I wonder if there was some type of contact that forced him down there.
Yeah, I wonder if he is just willing maybe to see, he's seeing the action going on. Maybe he does not want to be part of it right now, but we did see him have some early contact, maybe a hardware issue also. But right now, battle picking up for the 5th position. Rye Jones has a mirror full of Thomas Coonan, Brady Floyd, Jacob Bradley. They're getting it on like Donkey Kong down the front stretch, headed down into turn 1. Bradley's going to jump to the outside of Brady Floyd, Chris. Another driver looking to gain positions on the outside.
Yep.
Rye Jones, what do you make of it when you see kind of 4 or 5 cars backed up to a car with a big gap in front of them? Is that any indication of maybe those cars are faster or what?
Yeah, I mean, it could be that. Also, it could mean that he's just not willing to push it as hard as they are willing to push it right here. We see Thomas Coonan running a little bit higher. He's able to get a run on the straightaway, and he's going to look to the inside of Rye Jones here. Coonan's going to try to complete this pass. Yeah, I mean, it could be a situation where he is not as fast as maybe some of these guys behind him, or, like I said before, he's just pacing himself. He might be just trying to take it really easy right here. Got a long ways to go.
Yeah, got a long ways to go. Ryan Jones, Chris, we saw him last season honestly have one of the best seasons we've had him seen him have in terms of consistency. You know, he ended up finishing third in points, I believe, maybe fourth. I think that last wreck of the season cost him a spot, but we saw him put together top 5 after top 5 after top 5, and when he wasn't in the top 5, he was running in the top 10. So, you know, seeing a lot of maturity out of the driver, that number 91, Ryan Jones, continue to progress as a driver in just terms of racecraft. When we're talking about 80-lap races, we're talking about hour and a half races, Chris, racecraft is important. I think sometimes in the iRacing service, that is lost a little bit in terms of how important it is. You can't just be fast, right? You have to have the mindset of a driver who's looking to win the race over the course of the long run. Maybe not even winning the race, maybe just knowing that you don't have a winning car, winning speed, and kind of racing where you are. We've seen Ryan Jones get more and more in that mindset. As we've seen several drivers kind of grow in that sense over the course of their tenure in slingshot racing. Right now, single file racing, I'm looking, the biggest battle we've got going on, it's still top 4 are neck and neck, about a car length separating them out front. It's Bechtel, Scruggs, Ward, who's now moved up 2 positions. Scruggs is up from 6th now to 2nd. And then Raymond Hanneman, we mentioned him earlier, up 14 positions, Chris. But one thing I'm noticing, as soon as I mentioned that big gap in front of Ryan Jones and Thomas Coonan, they have closed back up on the bumpers of the top 4. So this race kind of getting a little bit tighter here on lap number 14 of 88. Coonan definitely high off the corner. Got into maybe a little bit of unfavorable territory on the track, maybe into the marbles a little bit.
Yeah, he made some contact with the outside wall right there, and hopefully it's not too bad. I don't see too much damage. As we got Josh Ward right here looking to the inside of Dustin Scruggs. He's trying to take that 2nd position. Raymond Hanneman is going to play a role in who completes this pass right, or who comes out in top, and he's going to fall in line with Scruggs, and that brings Hanneman past Josh Ward. And he almost got in the back of him.
Hanneman almost got in the back of Scruggs there.
Yeah, you got some guys that have some different mentalities here, it looks like. I see a lot of guys who are taking it really, really easy on corner entry, trying to save those tires for a long run. And then you got some guys who are charging the corners a lot harder than others. You know, if we don't have a long run, that's going to be good for them. But if we do have a long run, as we're starting to see a lot of cars migrate up towards the top here, I wonder if they're destroying their tires by charging the corners as hard as they are on entry there.
Yeah, I think you might be exactly right. I'm curious about a little battle we've got going on in about the 17th position. Jacob Chase has a couple of car links on Dan Berg. Both of those drivers up 4 and 5 spots respectively, rather. And then we watch Daniel Rowe kind of come into the back here of the number 2. Maybe a little bit of contact there, but nice little racing we've got going here. Dan Berg up 4 positions. Jacob Chase up 4 positions as well, Chris. We've seen Dan Berg run with us before, absent a little bit of last season, but we're glad to have him back in that number 2 truck, putting on a good show, got a good consistent race going so far. 3 wide behind them, though.
Yeah, really, really good good racing action back here. We got Johnny Rapp back here in the middle of it, our previous Truck Series champion. He's in the middle of the fray right here, and looking to try to get through the field. He's committed to running the bottom, where it seems like a lot of guys have moved up to the top, and that might be the track changing. Just to let those of you who are viewing this know, as we got a battle going on here for the 7th position, Evan Pienta and Brady Floyd going at it. iRacing did a refresh of their oval pavement racing, and it's supposed to be a little bit more of a dynamic track surface where,
very close. Jacob Bradley, last season's champion, sideways. Is he
holds on to
it down the backstretch? He hangs on to it. Very close there. That looked like Thomas Coonan and Brady Floyd kind of initiated some contact with Evan Pienta, who had to get down into the 50 of Jacob Bradley here on lap number 18. That is a championship caliber save right there, Chris.
It really was, and that all started on the exit of 2 right there when things got close in front of Jacob Bradley with Thomas Coonan, and yeah, he held on to it, did a nice job, and hey, the good news for Jacob Bradley, got a lot of time to recover. Long ways to go here.
This is a long race. Hey, but tell that to the driver now in third place, Chris. Rye Jones made that move on Scruggs. Josh Ward had gotten by earlier, and Scruggs right on the back bumper of Rye Jones in the 91. We got a right fight going on here into turn number 3 between the 91, the 11, the 85, the 53, and the 86 still working on each other, Chris. Those are the two cars that initiated some of that contact that we saw almost cost Jacob Bradley a shot at a top 5 here. Looks like they might settle it out for now, but Hanneman fighting back on the outside of Dustin Scruggs into turn number 1.
Yeah, and Hanneman's really, he got the nose to the outside of Scruggs right there. He's going to complete the pass. He's going to move up into the 4th spot. He's got some pretty good speed right now. I think that Rye Jones is demonstrating like the best long run speed at this point right here. 20 laps into the run, and it seems like he is the one that's moving forward the quickest at this point up here in this top mix at least.
Oh, Coonan into the side of Brady Floyd there off of the corner. I'm watching these guys, Chris. I think I am ready to see an incident between these two guys. It seems to have been brewing for the past couple of laps now. Lap 21, drivers work their way down into turn number 1. It might not be them, though. It might be Ward in the 92 and his inside driver there, number 91, Rye Jones, on top of each other as they head down to the corner in front of these two, Chris. These, man, we talked about the different mentalities going into tonight. I'm seeing several aggressive moves early on, just now hitting almost the quarter mark of this 88-lap race at Auto Club for Slingshot Racing and the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance. And this is tough.
And we know the history right here between Josh Ward and Rye Jones. If you've been a Slingshot Racing fan, you know that these guys have had some run-ins in the past. I think a lot of that's ancient history. It's been a while since we've seen any of that go on the track. But yeah, you know they're going to race each other really hard. Rye Jones going to look to make the crossover here.
Run off the corner, going to try to make the crossover. Chris, I'm curious if we can get an onboard shot with this number 91 to see if he can complete the pass here as they head down into turn number 3.
Yeah,
with Josh Ward to his outside. Yep. Ward's working on that run to the outside. He's there. Is Rye Jones going to give him the space? He's kind of got to, as that 92 gets a little bit of an edge off the corner, headed down to the front straightaway. He is going to have that position on that lap, but they head side by side. The 91 and the 92 down into turn 3. Rye Jones running a little bit higher than he did on entry the last lap. Josh Ward going to have to in with that. We got these cars on top of each other. Ward's going to get the run off the corner. He's going to have the help from the 86 of Thomas Coonan and Brady Floyd right behind him. Chris, are we seeing a similar situation to what happened to Justin Wilson earlier in this race down on the inside, now happening to his Payday Racing teammate of Rye Jones, as we watch Coonan have to deal with his teammate, Brady Floyd, or Raymond Hanneman, rather, is going to have to deal with his teammate Coonan on the outside.
Yeah, Coonan was the one trying to make the... Yeah, he's making the pass on the outside of Hanneman right here, and he is going to try to get around Rye Jones as well. This is what makes this track so frustrating, is because it looked like for several laps right there that Rye Jones was quicker than Josh Ward and quicker than some of these other guys.
Oh, there goes Wilson Hanneman. And Thomas Coonan off of turn 2. Coonan's going to be sideways. That's actually Hanneman down the back straightaway.
He's still fighting it.
He's going to hang on to it. Looks like he's going to hang on to it. I believe Hanneman's going to hang on to it. Caution is not out. Green flag still on the speedway. Heck of a save there by Hanneman down the back straightaway, Chris. We've seen that gaggle of cars be working on each other, working on something like that for a couple of laps as we watch this replay.
Yeah, it looked like to me that maybe Hanneman got out of the gas right there. Yeah, he got way out of the gas, and Justin Wilson could not avoid him. Got into the back of him, and yeah, luckily we didn't draw a caution right there.
That can be kind of chalked up to what we've been talking about, tire wear. We saw Hanneman, one of those cars that was running on the outside, Chris, very early on, used up those tires. So when you're trying to run that inside line, that car just keeps on pushing up the track. And to get control, you kind of got to let off the throttle a little bit, and he just wasn't able to do that enough. Man, these drivers up front, though, Chris, are mixing it up. We've got a battle for the lead. Thomas Coonan going to give a bump draft to Rady Bechtel, headed down into turn 1. It's Bechtel, Coonan, Ward, Jones, and Floyd all on top of each other, with Evan Pienta and Aaron Smith not far behind. Top 7 have about a car length between between each one of them, respectfully. Some of the best racing going on right now on the track. Up front, between the top 7, Evan Pienta on the outside of Aaron Smith. Looks like Smith's going to surrender that position, but Randy Bechtel looking like he might surrender the lead here to Thomas Coonan, who's going to try to pull the slide job up the track. It's going to work, but is Bechtel going to fight back, or is he just going to slot into second, Chris? That's about as good as a slide job as I've seen in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, that was close on being able to clear him right there, but he does clear him off of 4, and he's going to complete the pass. Yeah, we'll see right here as this run progresses, as we get closer and closer to the end of the fuel run. I'm going to be really, really curious to see, drivers that, continue to move forward and those that slide back. One that I think is moving forward right here is this yellow Hank Thomas Performance number 70. That's Aaron Smith. He is coming up through this field. He's one of our past champions here in the Slingshot Racing League, and he is moving right now. I feel like the pace is showing in his favor. Randy Bechtel is not going to give up. He's going to go right back after Thomas Coonan here.
Oh, and he's got a push from his payday teammate of Rye Jones. He's going to take it to the outside. Is Bechtel going to be able to catch that quarter panel?
Man, Coonan overdrove it.
Over though, down into turn 1, now exiting turn 2. Bechtel.
Some contact.
Contact there between Bechtel and Coonan. Side by side down the backstretch. That red and white 51 taking it to that black and red number 86 of Coonan. It's a drag race headed down into turn 3.
Man, Thomas Coonan is really fast tonight, but I have seen him make a lot of contact out here on the track. He's just letting it all hang out. He's not here to make friends. He's here to try to get to the front.
Yeah, and this is his first official race with Slingshot Racing League. You mentioned it, not out there to make friends, getting the job done right now, Chris. But you mentioned this is a long race, and these drivers have pretty good memories. Randy Bechtel, you mentioned calm, cool, and collected, but he's not going to forget that little
contact between Josh Ward and Brady Floyd. Looks like they got together there off of turn 2.
Brady Floyd, kind of another driver we've seen up in the mix, a newcomer to Slingshot Racing, currently running in the 7th position, Chris, but he has been in the thick of things in the hornet's nest, so to speak, all night long. Great job hanging on. It looks like we might see our first taker on pit road. Floyd has had enough on lap number 29. He thinks he's hit his fuel window. Chris, we looked at a fuel window being somewhere between 33 to 36 laps tonight. And I think we're just a lap or 2 away from hitting that. And I think Dustin Scruggs might have already come in as we watch him, I believe, down there on the apron, making his out lap here, going to be catching up to the rest of the field. We'll see him look like Superman for a couple of laps on those fresh tires, Chris. I think we're going to have several drivers coming down pit road this time or the next lap. I'm seeing a lot of drivers coming on the chat right now calling out their pit road entry. So let's get ready for some action. Green flag pit stop's about to be underway. There's your first taker. It looks like it's going to be Evan Pienta, along with a couple of other cars coming down pit road. I believe that might have been Scott Tompkins,
Lee Campbell.
Jay Leach.
Yep. And these guys are coming maybe a little bit early. I'm not sure about what their scenario is. If you feel like you're falling back a little bit, if you feel like the long run pace isn't quite there, if you've used up your tires, now is a really good time to pit. As Evan Pienta slides through his pit stall, that's going to hurt his time a little bit. But if you are really, really fast in the long run, like Aaron Smith, for instance, right now, who is flying up through this field.
Battle for the lead as we head back to the front. 5 cars on top of each other. You mentioned Aaron Smith picking up the pace, Chris. He's a driver who is notorious for starting out slow, but just winding it up as the laps click by.
Yeah, and like I was saying, he is flying up through the field right here, and I think that he is probably feeling like he can go a little bit longer as we see Coonan and Bechtel make some contact right there again.
This is a tale as old as time, at least as tale as old as 32 laps. The 86 and the 51 were side by side, beating and banging. Rye Jones going to try to enter the fray, headed down into turn 3, and that number 91 hits the outside line. Coonan's going to get a run on the outside. Bechtel still there on the inside. The fight now is for 4th and 5th between Josh Ward and Aaron Smith, Chris, but Rye Jones giving a hell of a push to the number 86 of Thomas Coonan right now.
Yeah, we're looking back from Coonan right here at this side-by-side battle between both the payday teammates of Bechtel and
now
Jones.
Now Brady Floyd coming up the
on
middle.
Those fresh tires. You can see the difference right here. Look at him just cut up through the pack right there. Dustin Scruggs as well. Here he is coming on the inside. That's a difference that fresh tires make.
And let's talk about the urgency, right? We're seeing green flag pit stops. For these guys who came early, they've got to gain as much ground as possible early on with the benefit of those fresh tires. Do you see drivers kind of racing with a sense of urgency out there?
Absolutely, yeah. They're racing pretty hard, and they want to try to. Oh, as we see, looks like Dan Rowe is going to hold on to it as we got the payday teammates of Bechtel and Jones on pit road. Justin Wilson came a lap before. Scott Tompkins is going to join them here. Yeah, I think that you want to try to
coming this time as well.
You want to try to take advantage of those tires if you are using them, and or if you have come a couple laps early. And so being in traffic is not ideal because you're using up some of that grip, and you're not able to maximize your time right out of the gates. As it looks like Coonan is going to come this time as well. He's on the bottom of the track.
Yep, Coonan's going to be on his way in. Aaron Smith going to gain a position, it looks like, on Coonan there. Better entry, and that chalked that up to experience as we watch, looks like Gardner and a couple of other cars coming down pit road as well. Pistol in the number 94. Looks like Nick DeCesare and Very Racing teammate Matt Kuntz. I know we've got some Kuntz and DeCesare fans in the chat right now. They're making their way down pit road on lap 35. We're going to be, I believe, I'm looking at all the drivers. I think I've got about 10 drivers left who have not come down pit road. Josh Ward still out there on 35 lap old tires. Johnny Rapp also on old tires. Kyle Dewey up to third in that number 33 machine, having a good run despite kind of a near miss early in the race. He's going to hit pit road this time by as he exits turn 4. Yeah, Josh Ward, Johnny Rapp staying out though.
Yeah, he's going to bring that Toyota down pit road as, I'm going to be interested to see how much ground. I mean, Josh Ward's obviously going to lose some ground here to the guys he was racing with, but maybe he can make it up on this long run as looks like he's fighting for the bottom of the track right here. I bet he'll be coming to pit road this time by.
Yep, Josh Ward getting down to the inside. Aaron Smith, that Cardo's outside, has already made a pit stop. We see that number 92 slowing down, going to be coming to the attention of his crew here on lap number 36, looking for a clean entry. Seeing if he's going to bring Jay Heishman, who's in third place with him. He will. Johnny Rapp, however, is going to stay out another lap, meaning he is going to be the leader this time by, Chris. So right now, Johnny Rapp scored as your leader. Patrick O'Toole. Let's talk about Patrick O'Toole, Chris. He has moved up 32 positions. I know pit stops have skewed this a little bit, but before pit stops had run, I was keeping my eye on the driver of that number 44, Patrick O'Toole, who looks like he's going to be coming in this time by. O'Toole just came up one position short of winning the Apex Energy Hard Charger Award last season to James Danforth. He moves up on average 10 positions a race, and we've seen Patrick O'Toole kind of become a master at starting near the back and working his way up, working on another journey through the field tonight after starting, I believe, in the 34th position, Chris. I'm beginning to think it's intentional at this point as we watch Johnny Rapp coming out pit road along with Patrick O'Toole here on lap number 37 of 88.
Yeah, he definitely does charge up through the field, and maybe he purposely wants to try to make that charge. You know, I used to enjoy doing that because I thought it was fun to pass more cars. So maybe that's his mentality.
I'm too much of a scaredy cat to do that personally.
You know who else does that? Kyle Larson.
Oh, caution is out right here with one car not coming down pit road. I think that's going to be Johnny Rapp. I'm looking to see where he's being scored. Let's see if we can figure out what happened. Was that Justin Wilson?
I do not have any information here, so I'm not going to be able to tell you where the wreck occurred.
Looking through the... Oh, I found it. It might have been the 85 of Raymond Hanneman. Him and Jacob Chase. This was on the exit of turn 2, Chris. Hanneman was up the track in the middle. Looks like he might have cleared himself on the number 43 of Jacob Chase. Just wasn't clear yet. So we'll take a look at that SRL replay. Let's scroll back for a second to catch that action down the back straightaway.
Yep, not clear of the 43 of Chase. Jacob Chase had a good fender in there on him still. So we'll actually ride on board with Jacob Chase and show you what he saw. I am attempting to find the driver of the 43. Here he is. and we'll ride on board with him and just show you what he saw right here. He's just riding along straight right here, and that 85 just slides right on up in front of him. Hopefully there's not too much damage to his car or the 85 of him. I don't think there is, and maybe there's some rear bumper damage to the 85, but yeah, hopefully those guys can get it back going again, and we'll still have a full field out there.
Yeah, no, that's not the view. Jacob chasing that 43 wanted off a turn 2, but that was the view he got, and because of that, we are under caution here on lap number 39 of 88. Not quite halfway yet in the Pine Mountain Auto Supply 175, the season opener here at Auto Club for Slingshot Racing League and the Apex Energy Truck Series, presented by Hank Thomas Performance. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined in the booth tonight by Chris Smith. And hey, one thing I want to point out to you, Chris, and the fans, Brady Floyd and Dustin Scruggs, two of the guys who pit very early, are in the lead. They're scored as the lead. I think the guys who came early might have gotten quite a benefit there, Chris, from that fresh tire change a couple of laps before the rest of the field.
Yeah, and if you look up here on the scoring ticker, you'll see how many laps they have on their tires. Dustin Scruggs came 10 laps ago.
The earliest one, yeah.
Yeah, and Brady Floyd 9 laps ago. Compare that to some of those guys that we saw up at the front that went a little bit longer. People like Aaron Smith, Rye Jones, Scott Tompkins. Those guys have like 4 and 5 laps on their stint right here. So they're going to have a little bit of a disadvantage. They're going to have a hard time holding off some of these guys once we get back
Scruggs
going.
is going to make a pit stop here on lap number 39. Interesting choice to take his second of 3 sets.
I think he maybe recognizes his position, that he's probably going to drop like an anchor here because of the difference in tires. We'll see. Yeah, I don't think that he would come to pit road just to take fuel only. So yeah, he's only going to have 1 set left after this. So if you are Dustin Scruggs, you're hoping that this thing goes green to the end, I think.
Absolutely. And hey, speaking of going green to the end and having that energy to make it to the end, I think we need to pay some bills and hear from our title partner, Apex Energy. Can help you get to the end of the day no matter whether you are an athlete or you're a parent just trying to make it from one day to the next. We'll be back on the other side of the break. Are you looking for high-quality, affordable sim racing paint schemes and graphics? Then look no further than Evan at Evan Pienta Designs. Driven by speed, Evan Pienta Designs offers a multitude of sim racing graphics, from liveries to social media graphics to team and series logos. To see some of the work done by Evan, or even race one of the public liveries he's made, head on over to tradingpaints.com and search Evan Pienta. All right, back here at Auto Club Speedway, about to go green flag racing once again in the Pine Mountain Auto Supply 175 for the season opener of Slingshot Racing. We delayed the green flag by a lap or two because I believe there was a scoring issue with iRacing. Our race controller, Sam Maxwell, I believe, has got it settled out and worked out right now. Brady Floyd is being scored as your leader. He's going to be the control car on the inside once he hits the Geico restart zone in blue. He's going to be free to hit that throttle and go green. Evan Pienta going to be starting second. Jay Leach enters the chat for the first time tonight, running in third in that 22 car. We've raced with him before. Good to see him back. He's up 13 positions on the night, Chris. Good run going for Jay Leach right now. Brady Floyd getting ready to take the green flag. Pace car peels off for the second time tonight. Floyd mashes the throttle. We're underway once again here at Auto Club for Slingshot Racing League. Clean start for Floyd. Pienta's going to try to duck down there to fill that hole between Floyd and Leach. Wilson in fourth. Single file are your top four. Aaron Smith in fifth. They head down into turn number one. Pienta right lined up with the back bumper of Brady Floyd in that black and blue machine. Pienta going to see if he can get a run off the corner down the back stretch. Will he make a move? Headed down into three. We're going to have to wait to see for just a second. He's got Leach behind him. He's going to stay tucked up to the back of that 53, but looks a little bit loose down into three, Chris.
Yeah, he was a little bit loose right there, but yeah, it's going to be interesting right here to see as Justin Wilson's going to try to make the pass for third right here. It's going to be interesting to see if Floyd, Pienta, Wilson, if these guys up here that are at the front can hold off these guys who are on a little bit fresher tires.
Yeah, we saw tires really making a difference as the run went on that first stint of this race. So we know that tires matter. Several drivers still running that outside line, though. We talked about the impact they can have on tire wear. Big battles going on all the way 5th through 11th or so, Chris. Aaron Smith now side by side with Jay Leach. This is a battle for the 4th position. Leach to the outside. Smith going to try to get a twofer here. Justin Wilson, runner-up last season, is going to get passed by Smith and Jay Leach, it looks like, on the outside. Thomas Coonan, Rye Jones waiting to pounce as well as they cross the finish line here on lap number 43 of 88, almost to the halfway point.
Yeah, riding on board right here with Aaron Smith. You see what he's looking at right here. 3 wide behind him. Coonan on the bottom. Wilson in the middle. Jay Leach up top right here.
Oh,
Coonan is trying to keep...
Tompkins there as well.
Yeah, Coonan is trying to keep pace with Aaron Smith. I think he recognizes that he's on the same tires as me. I got to keep pace with him. I got to make sure that I keep up with him. As Rye Jones up there on the top is trying to make that top lane work.
Thomas Coonan driving it hard down into turn 3 in that number 86. He's going to make it stick, though, completing the pass on Justin Wilson as well as Rye Jones. You mentioned the sense of urgency. The 25 of Scott Tompkins throws a big block on the number 92 of Josh Ward as they cross the start-finish line. Chris, I am glad I'm not out in the car right now because I think I'd be peeing my pants.
Yeah, it's intense right now. Josh Ward looking like he wanted to put it up the middle. Yeah, I think Ward is trying to send a message to Tompkins with that quick move right there that he was unhappy with the block.
I think a lot of drivers might not be happy with the way their compatriots are racing them right now, headed down into 3. Wilson's got a mirror full of Scott Tompkins and Jeremy Gardner now to Tompkins outside.
Oh,
Josh Ward!
Coonan in the wall.
In the wall. Jones has to avoid. We're 3 wide, almost 4 wide, down the front straightaway as they cross the line, folks. Tompkins is in a Ward-Gardner sandwich. This is a battle for the 8th position. Justin Wilson about to make it 4 wide down into turn 1. Man, the intensity is picking up as we've crossed the halfway point in the season opener. Drivers are looking for every inch on the track as possible. Justin Wilson now having to hold off Jeremy Gardner. We see Coonan make a pass to the inside of Rye Jones, that black and purple and orange machine.
3 wide for the lead.
Getting passed by the 86.
Oh,
meanwhile,
contact.
3 wide for the lead. Smith and Pienta side by side. Wow, Floyd's going to have to hold off Smith if he's going to stay in the lead. The Hank Thomas Performance machine is up and going at full sound down into turn 1. He's got the Yellow Warrior wound up, Chris.
Yeah, he is. He's really rolling the bottom nice. I don't see anybody that's rotating on the bottom right on that white line quite as well as he is. He's done all of his work down there since the drop of the green flag, and here he is right here trying to take the lead from Brady Floyd. But Brady Floyd's not going to give it up easily.
No, Brady Floyd not going anywhere. I think if Smith is going to get by, he's going to have to pull that slide job. He doesn't have the clearance to do it there. 4 cars with a blanket on top of him heading down the front straightaway. Just about 40 laps left in this race. The intensity is picking up. Floyd on the outside, Smith on the inside. They've got the Hot Wheels machine of Evan Pienta right now, right behind them. He's got Coonan he's racing with. Coonan's going to draw even with Brady Floyd off of turn 2. Smith now is the uncontested leader, but he's got a little bit of fight coming from the behind from Brady Floyd, Chris. Evan Pienta right behind him. Coonan to the inside. Man, so much action is going on the track, you can barely figure out what to call here.
Exactly. Coonan right there missed the bottom. He drove it a little bit too hard right there. That's going to put him in the middle, 3 wide as Pienta. Oh, yeah, he's getting split right and left here after sliding there off of turn 4.
And let's talk about this. Oh, he runs that 5 down the track really close for a moment on entry there, Chris. As drivers watch other drivers, right? So drivers have been racing around the 86. They maybe have noticed that he's making some super aggressive moves. Does that change people's willingness to work with you as the race kind of winds on? Does that factor into a driver's mentality as we watch them sort it out up here in 4th and 5th and 6th place, Gardner now to the inside of Coonan?
Oh, absolutely. Especially on a track like this where you have a choice who you want to line up behind. If drivers see a driver, making some aggressive moves, making some contact, side-to-side contact, they might be less willing to line up behind that driver and push that driver past another one. They are more likely to want to push another driver past you. So that's definitely something to consider. But Thomas Coonan's like, I'm not here to play. I'm here to try to win this race and run up front.
Yeah, Thomas Coonan making no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is here to race. He's here to win, and he is racing hard here on lap 50 of 88. Man, I want to go and talk about some of the drivers further back in the field, Chris, but this is some of the best racing on action. Oh, man, Rye Jones to the inside of Brady Floyd. Splits the difference between him and Evan Pienta. That's going to open the hole for the 86 of Thomas Coonan between Jeremy Gardner and Evan Pienta as they head down into turn 1. Like I mentioned, if you're looking at the timing screen right now, Chris, this is up and down. I'm seeing green, red all over the place right now between drivers moving up and down in the standings.
Yeah, that's new. That's what we knew we would get this season with the trucks, so especially on a track like this, where the draft is so big with these huge spoilers and the big. Oh, as Tompkins makes a quick move inside, 3 wide on Coonan. Coonan and Gardner to his outside right here. Scott's going to try to roll the bottom down here in turns 3 and 4. Maybe see if he can clear. Oh, he can't. Oh, contact. He wasn't clear.
Gardner into the wall. Tompkins into the wall. Will every other driver miss it down the front straightaway?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Tompkins and Sobzak along with Patrick Colby collide. We've got mayhem on the front straightaway at Auto Club Speedway on lap 52 of 88. Caution number 2 is out on the track. That 25 just could not keep it in the wall, Chris.
No, and that's a situation where iRacing did not throw the caution, and the caution probably should have, I wish the sim would have thrown the caution there because... Scott's just not clear of the 86, and he tries to slide up in front of him to get the push from him on the straightaway, and he just doesn't quite clear him. Makes some contact right there. Now, see, here's the choice. Like, Coonan has a choice right here where he can back out, and he decides to keep his foot in it, which is, that's his choice to make. That's his choice to make, and he keeps his foot in it, and... They get together. Scott gets turned on into the wall right there. Jeremy Gardner collected as well. Not sure how bad the damage is right here, but see, then Scott slides down the track right in front of Scotty Sobzak and Patrick Colby, delivering a lot of damage to those cars. We're going to ride on board right here with Scotty Sobzak and see if we can tell how bad the damage is from his...
the humanity! I'm
Pine Mountain Auto Supply car. Yeah,
I'm having flashbacks of the Hindenburg crash with the news reporter. The humanity. That's a hard one to watch on board that 81 Pine Mountain Auto Supply car. I know, not the finish we wanted for that 81 tonight in the presenting partner of the race.
Yeah, and if you are Scotty Sobzak, I mean, what can you do? The green flag is still out. I mean, you just got to hope that these guys keep it in the wall right here, and unfortunately, he commits to going low, and right about that time is right when Scott Tompkins, his truck slides down to the bottom right there, and so that's just super unfortunate.
Yeah, green flag pit stops, however, are underway. Most drivers were able to miss that crash. Aaron Smith, Rye Jones, and Brady Floyd going to lead them down pit road. Let's see who's going to win this race off. Pivotal pit stop, Chris. I think if we were to go green, this should take us to the end. The green flag will come out around lap 56 with about 32 laps remaining. That is within our fuel window. Watching that pit road battle, we're going to see who's going to win the race off here. Between the top 5 leaders who entered pit road, who just come to the attention of their crew. Rye Jones.
I think Rye Jones got it.
Looks like he's going to win it off against Aaron Smith, Brady Floyd, and Thomas Coonan, as well as Josh Ward. But Chris, I think a dark horse is staying out on the track right now. Patrick O'Toole, I'm not sure if he's just leading a lap or if he is going to try to take the green flag from that pole position. Maybe a little bit of a strategy call here, rolling the dice for Patrick O'Toole. We're going to see this lap if he comes down pit road, but with just about 34 laps remaining, every single position matters. I know we've seen some battling, some hard racing going on in the pack tonight. I think you either want to be up at the front or near the very back, because if it's if you're in the middle, it's not a position I would want to be in right now.
Not at all. And you know, as we see, Patrick O'Toole is going to come down pit road this time. So that's going to hand the lead to Rye Jones. So I'll take a minute right here to talk about Rye Jones tonight. I think he's been really impressive. I think he's been super, super patient. You know, other than Aaron Smith, I think he might have, you know, the second best long run pace. I feel like he and Randy Bechtel were really, really close in that speed earlier. So, yeah, I'm going to be really curious to see over the end of this race right here, these final, what we're going to have here, about 32 laps. Be curious to see how fast he is. And these drivers can make it to the end now on fuel.
Yeah, I think we are set. If we were to go green with about 33 laps left, we might not. I think we've got the fuel to make it. Hey, and speaking of fuel, what's giving us fuel in the broadcast booth tonight are the fans. We haven't addressed y'all yet. It's been a hot, crazy night here in Auto Club, at Auto Club in Fontana, California, just outside of Los Angeles. And we want to give a shout out to everyone watching the race on YouTube tonight, on Twitch as well. But we've got a really active chat going on YouTube right now. Let us know who you are rooting for. I know we've got Kyle Dewey fans in the chat. A couple other shout-outs. Stu Vinman watching. Don Hilbrun's, we're glad to see you as always. Chase Berry not racing with us tonight, but he's in the chat. Evan Pienta. Steve C. has tuned in. Lovely Days. I believe he's the Very Racing Motorsports groupie who's tuned in. We appreciate him. John Rapp. Glad to see him here as well. Julie in the chat. Brendan Garvey in the chat. So many people out there tonight. Julie and Ellen in the chat. Appreciate all of y'all. Let us know who you are rooting for.
I'm just going to say,
what driver are you rooting for to finish first tonight?
I'm just going to say I'm a little bit disturbed by this Matthew fellow in the chat.
Yeah. Wonder who that is.
I think he's a Rye Jones fan.
Ready to go green. Rye Jones to the lead. He's going to be the whole shot car here on the green flag. He is your leader. He mashes the throttle first. Brady Floyd and Aaron Smith now duking it down into turn number 1. That bright yellow car has been one of the fastest cars on the long run all night long. That Hank Thomas performance machine has got it wound up.
Wilson and Coonan make some contact there off of turn 2.
Wilson and Coonan, Josh Ward, Evan Pienta right in the middle of all this. Chris, I don't think we've seen the most intense racing we are going to see tonight play out yet.
Not at all. And yes, Rye Jones right here. If you're Rye Jones, you just want to get away from all this mayhem behind you, as Justin Wilson puts a little bit of a block on Evan Pienta down the front stretch here.
Absolutely. Justin Wilson doing battle with Josh Ward to his outside. Evan Pienta, that bright white and blue Hot Wheels machine right behind Wilson. They head down into turn 1 now. Out of turn 2, Coonan is on the outside. Will Josh Ward split the gap between him and Wilson? He thinks better of it. About 30 laps left to go tonight. Wilson still side by side with Josh Ward. Brady Floyd pushing Rye Jones out to the front. Jones is going to duck down to the inside. Now Floyd's got to do battle with the number 70 of Aaron Smith. Coonan might have grabbed the wall there again on the exit of turn 4, Chris. We've seen that 86 fast, but he has been on the edge tonight. Huge run of momentum as he tries to work his way by the 70 of Aaron Smith, maybe even more with Brady Floyd right out in front. But now Josh Ward, Justin Wilson, Evan Pienta, Jacob Bradley, all working on the back bumper of Thomas Coonan. Chris, like we mentioned, there is so much going on the track right now. Just don't know what to draw the attention to, because anything could happen at any time. This front pack is racing as hard as we've seen them all night long. You can see that from that onboard rear view camera of Rye Jones. He is looking at some scary stuff in his rear view mirror right now. 3-wide battle going on for the 7th position between Dan Rowe, Jacob Bradley, and Evan Pienta as they head down into turn 1. Wilson still kind of in the middle of that hornet's nest, looking to get out of that as soon as possible if you're Justin Wilson, but it's tough going for several of these drivers. Panta a little bit loose off the corner on the inside as he gets onto the back straightaway. He's going to have Jacob Bradley to deal with. I believe that's Dan Rowe, Chris. Shout out to Dan Rowe in that 68 car. He has moved up 16 positions tonight on his own merit and volition, Chris. He is started off in the 22nd position. Now up to 6th place as he almost gets to the wall, trying to get by Josh Ward here.
Yeah, Josh Ward slid right up in front of him. Yeah, a great run from Daniel Rowe here tonight. Looking really racy, and there's a driver right behind him as well who has made an outstanding recovery. Looking in the middle right there is that number 50 of Jacob Bradley. We saw him sideways on the apron here down the backstretch earlier after some contact. He has recovered all the way up here into the top 10, all the way up to the 7th spot.
Jacob Bradley, masterful championship maneuver there early on in the race, sideways. We could see that number 50 on the side of his truck. He was so sideways on the back straightaway. He held on to it, lived to fight another day. He works his way up into the 7th position. Right now, James Danforth, another car that's worked his way up in the field, Chris, up 20 positions after starting 31st in that number 88 yellow and blue Napa machine. On the inside there, working on Chris Blassie and Jay Leach. James Danforth, heck of a run so far, up 20 positions, working on the bottom of Jamie Leach here, who's having a good run as well in 10th position currently. Chris, these guys are making it look easy out here. You get off the throttle at all in these trucks, and you're going to get past in a hurry. So there's not really a whole lot of room for mistakes. And we've seen that kind of night. When you lose momentum, you're talking to losing a couple of positions on track. So these drivers have to be on it. And we're seeing these drivers absolutely on it with about 26 laps left. In the books here, we are in the final third, nearly, of this race here at Auto Club Speedway. Season opener for Slingshot Racing League. If you have not hit that subscribe button underneath the video on YouTube, please go ahead and do so. Tell us you like what you are seeing. It helps our channel grow. It does not cost you absolutely anything at all, and mean the world to us if you go and hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. That doesn't hurt either. Everything we can do to get your drivers in front of more viewers' eyes, we greatly appreciate it. Right now, eyes are big for several of these drivers, just having to hold on to the steering wheels, going nearly 200 miles an hour into these corners, Chris. Top speed, I'm looking at a couple of drivers, 188 going to the corner, so just shy of 200. This is tough sledding out here, especially for race one.
Well, right on board right here with Daniel Rowe right here. We're going to follow the 92 right here of Josh Ward, and he is getting a really, really big pull. His entry speed right here into turn 3, and this is the shorter straightaway. It was about 187 miles an hour down here into turn number 3. So, yeah, really, really fast track. And they'll be even faster down here on entry to turn 1 as Floyd is going to look to the inside. Or actually, I think Coonan might be looking to the outside. Anyway, it's a battle for third between Coonan and Floyd.
Yeah, Coonan and Floyd right behind Rye Jones. Drivers head down into turn 1. Those two black cars, the 53 and the 86, you could put a blanket over the top of them. They're both chasing down Aaron Smith in that bright yellow machine. Hey, Thomas Performance on board that number 70. He's got an extra bit of octane in that truck tonight. I say that, just kidding. No cheating going on for the number 70 driver, but he is fast. Aaron Smith down to the inside. He's got Jones, Coonan, Floyd, Josh Ward all in tow, Chris, but Daniel Rowe, I'm looking. He is the fastest car on track the last couple of laps, and I know draft can make that number a little bit skewed, but he is running some fast laps, and he is working his way up. I think he's definitely one to keep an eye on if this thing goes green the rest of the time, because notice where's he running on the track? He's on the inside. We've said that drivers are on the inside, inherently saving tires. Yeah. Rowe almost slides up into the front of the number 55 of Evan Pienta. Thinks better of it, but I think that might pay dividends here in 10 laps or so.
Yeah, he looks really fast, and yeah, I'd be curious to see if he can maintain this pace here for the final stretch of the race. I think that's the biggest question right here. These guys that are, able to maintain their pace. Is Aaron Smith up here at the front of this thing? Is he going to be able to maintain his pace? We've seen him ever since the restart. Aaron fought really hard to get the lead and keep the lead on the restart. And, did he, use up his tires? Or has he been up here just saving a little bit? Saving, up here at the front of this thing? It's hard to tell. It's hard to know unless you are the driver behind the seat. We do know that Aaron is probably one of the best in the field at saving tires over the course of a run.
He really has, and you can see Rye Jones get a little bit of antsy here. He's seeing opportunity flash before his eyes right now, running that outside. He sees Aaron Smith down to the inside, meaning he might have an opportunity to pick up that spot. You can see that massive run, Chris. He got off of turn 4 as they head down into 1. That black and purple machine going to stay high while Aaron Smith goes low. We'll see what that choice of lane does for Rye Jones' speed off the corner. I think he might have gotten a little bit loose through that corner, had to let off the throttle because Smith gained a little bit about center off there on Jones. Jones is going to have to deal with Coonan here, but is this a kind of I'm trying to think of I don't want to call it a trap, but if you're Rye Jones, you definitely see the opportunity to get by Smith, but to do so, you're probably going to have to work that outside line, and I think we're already seeing maybe, the chicken's coming home to roost here for these guys who ran the outside line for so long during this last green flag run for the past 10 laps or so.
It very well possibly could be, as Coonan charging down to the inside right here, down to the white line. He is going to try to slide up in front of Jones. Jones is going to look to the inside right here. He's not going to let him get... Oh, and he's going to slide back in line. Could not do the crossover.
He's thinking about trying to duck out again, heading 3. Chris, one thing that we haven't mentioned is netcode. And what we mean by netcode is sometimes the computers aren't calculating the distances between the cars correctly over the internet. And there might look like there's a gap there, but the computer's saying, nope, these cars are making contact. We've seen that play a role in the preseason clash last week. I think if I was a driver, I would definitely be cognizant and mindful of the fact that what looks like, 2 inches from my onboard camera, it might be nothing if netcode is not playing nicely with us tonight, which Evan Pienta has to
close.
Get it down to the bottom off of turn 2. To avoid a collision with Josh Ward. This is a battle for the 5th position with just about 18 laps left in the books here from Auto Club Speedway, Chris. This is getting intense. And hey, I would be remiss if we didn't take just a moment to hear from our presenting partner of the series, Hank Thomas Performance. We're going to go ahead and play a quick ad. I promise we will be back in just a minute. Last ad tonight before we watch the rest of the green flag racing till the end.
Hank Thomas Performance is a Sunoco Race Fuel master distributor located in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Our territory covers North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, as well as the Panhandle of Florida, providing quality Sunoco Race Fuel, mini-track, and dealers throughout the region. In addition to Sunoco Race Fuel, Hank Thomas Performance distributes high-quality methanol and at-track supplies, as well as miscellaneous gas containers and everyday products that the at-track racer wants and needs as they compete at their local asphalt and dirt ovals, plus drag strips. You can reach us at 800-848-HANK, or if you're in our area, come out and visit us at the shop.
All right, back here at Auto Club, just about 16 laps left tonight in the season opener for Slingshot Racing League from Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance. That HTP machine who we just heard from is right now running up front. Aaron Smith, former Slingshot Racing champion, is your leader, but he's got company. Thomas Coonan and Brady Floyd, 2 Slingshot newcomers, are second and third. Rye Jones and Justin Wilson, a former Slingshot Racing champion as well, in 6th position. Evan Pienta, 7th. Dan Rowe, 8th. Jay Leach, 9th. Jacob Bradley rounding out your top 10 right now. And Brady Floyd, Chris, good little run going so far. He's led 9 laps tonight, started 11th. Yeah. He's moved up 8 positions, so he's going to be putting himself in that Apex Energy Hard Charger conversation this season. Josh Ward cuts down in front of Justin Wilson. Josh Ward, another guy who's shown a lot